Howdy, everybody. It's your pal Misty. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. It is time for your Thursday night live stream because today is Thursday. Hello, Mama. I'm so glad you finally got to catch a live stream. You've been a busy, busy lady. Hey, Lori, thanks for joining. I appreciate you being here. Cheryl should be here, hopefully. She's running a little late. I know she's normally my moderator. But y'all can keep each other engaged in the chat as well until she can make it. She's had a busy day today running Rick around to different appointments and things. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about the week. And then the topic of the night is something y'all heard me say a bunch if you've been here for any amount of time: modify, adapt, overcome. So I kind of want to explain where that came from, why I say that all the time, and what I think it means and how I think it might be of a benefit to you as well. Yep, here I am. I might have been a minute late tonight. Sorry about that. It's Thursday, so let's talk about the week. There really wasn't much to the week except for very scary storms. I haven't had storm anxiety in a long time. I had storm anxiety when I was younger because we had some tornadoes come through. I've been through several different tornadoes. And although there were not tornadoes here this last week, at least not in my area, it was bad storms. And it was just so strange because you'd look at the radar and there would be nothing, and then it's like it just kept spawning on top of us and then moving out to the east and hitting everybody else as it went. But it was days of just rain, like a lot of rain, and that alone would have been okay. But the thunder and lightning, it was some of the worst that I remember, and it's definitely the worst since I've been in this apartment, because it would be so bright with the lightning that it would light up my room and wake me up, only to scare me with a loud clap of thunder. Because when you talk about two things I hate, it's too loud and too bright. Y'all know me. I don't like too much of when it comes to stuff like that. It was too loud. It was too bright and shaking the whole building. Like, the whole apartment would shake. At one point, I had to close the blinds because the flash would be so bright that was freaking the dogs out. And then the anticipation of the loud thunder was something that I do not appreciate, because it's just the worst. I hate it because I feel like if it thundered and I didn't know it was about to happen, maybe that would be one thing. But to see the lightning and know that any second you're going to get that real loud shake your whole apartment, it's just the anticipation of that. My anxiety would just going up and up and up and up. Hey, Jess, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. The thunder is loud in Texas, and I was talking to somebody. I was trying to remember where they lived, and now I don't remember who I was talking to, so I don't know who it was, but they were actually telling me that they don't really get like thunder and lightning. They just get rain. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, I've only seen and heard thunder and lightning a couple of times. I was like, what? Like every thunderstorm, I feel like it's a thunderstorm. It's not just a rainstorm. It's a thunderstorm. And the thing that causes the thunder is the lightning. You get the lightning first because it moves faster than the sound that it makes, which is the thunder. Anyway, it was a high anxiety night. Oh, and Lori, I'm going to tell on you. Be prepared. Mama, Lori had a tornado warning, and she told us she went in. She didn't have a hairbrush. She didn't have shoes on. She did not have anything in her travel pack ready to go for the for the tornado. They were all safe. Thank goodness. Because, Lori, if you had to be on TV, you might have looked crazy. For those who don't know, when we were growing up, we would go into the bathroom that my brother and I shared was like in the middle of the house. So that's where we would all go. But my mom would make sure that we had shoes on. She would make sure that we had a hairbrush so that if we had to walk around after, we wouldn't get feet cut from broken glass and things like that. And then we could brush our hair. Because back then I had long hair. So that we could brush our hair in case we were on the TV, because they always find the most disheveled, especially in Texas. I mean, obviously it's not hard to find, but I always find like the craziest people to put on the news, and they look like they've been through a tornado, but they probably looked like that before too, to be fair. So always take a hairbrush. See, Lori, always take a hairbrush. You were very underprepared. You need to, you need to get with the tornado program just in case, because we've been sending all our storms up there to you. Hey, Tasheri is here. Welcome, Tasheri. Tasheri, I'm so dadgum proud of you. Guys, she did a bike ride for MS. It was supposed to be a 100-mile bike ride, and I have no doubt that you would have completed that. But as I mentioned, the rain and the thunderstorms, unfortunately, they had to take different paths than they originally anticipated and had to cancel the ride on Sunday. But I believe you said you hit 67 miles. That's impressive. In a day. She rode 67 miles on a bike in one day. And get this, Mama, because you'll really understand this. They went from like Fort Worth to Cleburne. I don't know if y'all actually made it to Glen Rose or not. For those of you who don't know that area, that's hill country in Texas, which so not only did she ride 67 miles, girl, I know what kind of streets you were on. They like, it's like a roller coaster. It's one of my favorite trips that I get to take every year is going to Glen Rose for our family reunion, because A, it's beautiful country out there. And two, in Houston is flat. Like the biggest mounds we have are the are the trash. You see what you think is a little hill, and it's really just a dump. But it's super flat here. So to be able to go in the middle of hill country and go up and down Highway 67 south, it's beautiful. But girl, I can't imagine you trying to. She said somebody passed her like walking with their bike. And I'm only laughing because I can't even imagine trying to stay on a bike going up and down them hills. Even going down them must have been scary. Anyway, if you don't know Tasheri over at Wellness with the Frugal Mama, go check her out. I know I talk about her all the time because I'm there every Monday through Friday. She does a live stream workout. You get about 10 minutes in on a good day, but you're there to do what you're there to do. She's there to do what she's there to do. But I do love it. Oh, cool. You did get to end in Glen Rose. Yeah, that's nice. It's beautiful out there. I really do love it out there. I know, right? Isn't that awesome? They were raising money for MS, which is a cause that, I fully support as well. Yes, to share it. Yeah, you did spell her name. You can call her Frugal Mama too. That's what most people call her. I don't know. I'm one of those people. I like to use people's names, maybe because I'm in customer service, probably. But I like to use your name. Y'all know that because I'll ask you your name if you have a name or a channel that doesn't have your name in it. Sherry says, oh my goodness, you tried to warn me, but you can't prepare for that. No, I know. When you say it's hill country, even in Texas, you're like, okay, it's beautiful. There's some major, like you've probably seen me in videos. I think the last one was with Deanna maybe, where it's like, woo, when you're going down a hill in a car. It's crazy. Yeah, it's amazing. I love that. Yeah, great job, Lori. You spelled it correctly. Now if you can just say it correctly, because it took me like a couple of weeks to figure out how to say her name, because everybody calls her Frugal Mama. Anyway, I got off on a tangent on how proud I was of you there. But I think that's great, right? To push yourself outside of your limits. And maybe we'll come back to that when we talk about modify, adapt, and overcome as well. But yeah, so we had just really terrible storms. My storm anxiety came back a little bit. I joined a call at work at one point, and like it had just been really bad. And they're like, Misty, did you have caffeine today? I was like, I have caffeine every day. They're like, but did you have some like right before this call? I was like, no, I haven't had. I was like, why? They're like, you feel like you are amped up today. Oh, I'm like, oh, yeah, I am. But it's because I'm scared. They're like, you're scared of what? And so then I had to explain the storms and storm anxiety. And all this kind of stuff. They're like, oh, okay, you just felt like you were on level 10. I was like, I was on level like 67, but thank you for thinking that was only a 10. I didn't even realize it was like coming across as me being that nervous. And when I get nervous, I talk. That's one of the things that calms my anxiety. It always has. My poor mama can tell you about that. Because if I had something that was making me nervous, my favorite way to relax, as we're coming up on Mother's Day, we might as well say all the great things about my mama. I would go to bed in her bed. I slept in the bed with my mama till I was probably way too old to do so, and my dad couldn't even carry me anymore. He'd just have to wake me up and then have me walk to my room. But I would just sit there and talk. She was trying to go to sleep. She was like legit trying to sleep, and I'd just be da 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 for a long time until I would fall asleep. So I don't know where that came from exactly, but it's probably not a shocker that one of the ways that I curb my own anxiety is through talking. It's actually served me pretty well, and works really well in my career too, because I talk to people for a living. And if I'm nervous about it, sometimes it just gives me that amped up high energy and it actually reads really well. Unless people know me and then they can tell like my energy level is different. But I'm a talker. Even like with the massage, we talked about that a little bit. The thing that made it great for me was she let me talk, because the thing that I wasn't looking forward to of the massage was having to sit quietly for like an hour and a half. I mean, don't get me wrong. I go hours. Well, I can't even say that. I talk to the dogs. I could probably go hours without even saying anything and not really notice it, because I can talk to myself in my head. So I'm always talking. I guess we're always talking. Anyway, whatever. Storm anxiety. We did not get to walk on Sunday because of the storms. In fact, I'm pretty sure I couldn't have gone south to meet them anyway. I live off of you won't know this, but I live off of Highway 59 in the Houston area, and down south of me on 59 and 1960, which is a freeway and one of our major roads. 1960 goes like east to west all the way across Houston and into other parts of the state. Gets flooded really badly. So we had so many road closures. I believe on Sunday morning, even part of the freeway might have been closed. So I don't know that I could have even made it to see them anyway. Amy actually got out on Saturday and she was sending videos, because I live near a college, and in that college area, which is probably about a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile away from me, that area was flooded. But my apartments have never flooded. I asked them and they said, and they've been here for like well over 50 years. So they've been through Allison and Harvey and some of the big ones that had a lot of flooding here in Houston, and we've never flooded. So I wasn't really worried about that at all. Even if you look at the flood zones, it's like all this area right by me. For those who've been at my place where we go walk, which is about a half a mile away, there's a double, like you go up one side of the street and then you come down the other side of the street, but there's not two-way. They're actually separate streets. So anything on the other side of that double street was considered in the flood zone. And then on my side of the street, we're not, because it raises an elevation enough to where it won't get to us. Plus there's a big, I don't know what you would call it, ditch. I don't actually know what you would call it. But there's this huge area in between those two sides of the road. And Amy said the water was really flowing in that, but that it was probably halfway up to where it could go. So we would have had to have double the rain plus more for it to even get anywhere close to us. Anyway, enough about the storms, I guess, right? Let's just keep moving. Hey, Gina's here. She said she wanted to drop in and say hello. You're on your phone with your niece. Well, Gina, I was obviously thinking about you because I finally got to do my, what are they called? I just called them windmill cookies, but evidently I think there's an actual name. It's like a almond spiced cookie. If you've been here, Gina was telling me about the ones I had never heard of it. And you're right, it was like a womp 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 because they gave it to me and I looked at it and I had like two little gingerbread men. I'm like, but you gave me windmill cookies that are gingerbread. It's not, they took all the windmill ones on accident. I mean, none of us were really thinking about it. But you were right, Gina. They were delicious. I had like one every day. I think everybody else might have had more than one every day, but they were, we went through 2 packs of them in like the 4 days we were there, but they were delicious. Let's see what else happened in the week. Storming. Actually, it was a lot of storms. I didn't get to walk. I did actually get to walk on Sunday night. Amy came over and we walked my path. She was like, I needed to walk. I figured you needed to walk. Her wife was going to the HEB near where I live. And so Amy's like, I don't want to go to the store, but I want to move. So she brought Lily over. And so we did get a walk in on Sunday. So I did get in some movement that evening. And then this week we switched our schedule. So last week during the storm week, we normally walk on Wednesdays and Fridays, or Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm sorry. But on Thursday, she had actually overslept. So we both joined boot camp and it was a strength boot camp. And I have been talking about wanting to find a way to add in more strength work because we were walking on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which is when my coach Kirsten does strength training. So I've been joking that I've been on the cardio circuit for a couple of months since she changed up the schedule. So when Amy joined it, she was like, that was really good. I kind of needed that. She's like, do you want to switch our walking days? Which for whatever reason had never occurred for me to ask her. I felt like when we set this up a year ago, which is when I moved into this apartment, it's been a little over a year, there was a reason for the Tuesday, Thursday, but evidently whatever that reason was has changed. So this week we did boot camp on Monday, Tuesday, and then this morning. And then we walked on Wednesday. And Wednesday morning, she asked me, how I was feeling, if I was all messed up. I was like, no, I'm good. I've been pretty good. But then on Wednesday night, I went to make tacos and then realized, oh, that was last night. Oh, no, I didn't actually know yesterday was Tuesday. And then today, I joined one of my Wednesday meetings, couldn't figure out why anybody wasn't there. And then realized it's because that meeting I had already joined the day before. I joined it on Wednesday, too. I was looking at my calendar and I clicked on Wednesday and was like, oh, I have a meeting. Oh, no, I didn't have a meeting. There was no meeting. It was Thursday. So I think maybe my schedule is a little bit messed up in my head. When you get into routine, which is where we're heading into the modify, adapt, overcome. When you get into routine, sometimes something that throws that routine off can really kind of mess with you. So it can be a little, it can be a little tough. And it's just been kind of a tough week for me. I'm not going to speak much on it, but one of my cousins, her father-in-law passed on Monday, and then her mother-in-law passed on Sunday. Losing both parents, I can't even imagine. So I don't do good with grief. I don't really know how to process it is what I'm kind of learning. And I've known I've known them forever, for as long, 30 plus years probably. So I don't sleep well during times like that. So I haven't been sleeping as well, but I had some congestion with the storms. I did not, however, ever revert back to using the Afrin. I did take some Mucinex, and that did help, but I never did revert back to the Afrin. So I was proud of that. But it's been a long week, and I've been doing the strength on Tuesday and Thursday. And then, of course, I do the live stream that she does over at Quick Fit Home Workouts. She does a live stream every Tuesday and Thursday. And oh my goodness, this morning's workout, it crushed me. And I loved every second of it. We did like 100 push-ups. We did like 10 minutes of jump rope. We did all these different strength combos for a minute. The difference between 45 seconds and a minute feels like an eternity. It's crazy how much longer 15 seconds feels. Anyway, so we did that, and everybody, the new trend or craze now is zone 2 training. I'm sure you've heard people talking about their zone 2 training, and I was in zone 2 almost the whole workout. Like in between, she would have to give us like a little, not a rest break because we kept moving, but we would be doing like side steps or something before we would go down to our push-ups because our heart rate would be so high. She's like, I don't want you to get sick and, fall or, pass out while you're trying to go down to do push-ups. So it was super fun. Hey, Will's here. Hey, Will, thanks for joining. Will had snow the other day, guys, just like a week ago. What? You need to move, man. I don't know how you do it. Oh, Jen's here too. Hey, Jen, thanks for posting a comment in here. I appreciate knowing that y'all are here. Sometimes I don't know who all's here if y'all don't comment. So I appreciate you saying hello. And there's Marcy. Marcy. If y'all aren't following Marcy, y'all really should. Marcy, you've been doing such an amazing job. Her and Boss Lady Denise. She's not in the chat right now, but if you haven't been following those two ladies, you definitely should. Boss Lady Denise is doing a high knees challenge with someone right now. So every day she's out there doing her video of her high knee exercise. And Marcy's constantly posting exercises. She's working with Gavin over at Smithy's Fitness, which y'all know I have a man crush on Gavin. I think he's great. So yeah, if y'all don't know those ladies, definitely go check them out. If you want some inspiration about just doing it anyway, keep pushing at any size, any ability. They both do great modifications. So that's sort of what we're going to talk about this evening. So good lead in, Marcy. Perfect time to join. You're always right on time. Hold on. Let me take a swig of this water and then we'll get into it. I have not had my electrolytes today, so I made myself an electrolyte water. High knee or honey? High knees. She's been doing high knee where honey workouts would be good. I do like honey. I don't eat it. I eat the fake honey that I get from Chugga Zero, but it is still good. Yeah, he says he lives here with the snow because we have really good weather for summer and you have really beautiful places to go hiking or to rescue people from, which isn't as fun, but you still get the beautiful hike in while you're doing it. Oh, thank you, Marcy. She says she always enjoys my lives. I appreciate that. So for those of you who've been following me for any amount of time, there are a few catchphrases that I have, right? New favorite or epic disaster. So I turned that into a series. And another one that I've said for a long time is modify, adapt, and overcome. So for those of you who may be new to me, or for those of you who've been here a while, I just sort of wanted to talk about where I came from and how I got to where I am now, right? And that's how I did it. I think we all want to be overcomers, right? We all want to overcome those things that limit us or set us back. And it can be tricky. Especially for those of us who are on a weight loss journey, who are or were morbidly obese when we started. Y'all know I started this weight loss journey at 330 pounds. I know I've been heavier than that, but I didn't actually even start doing exercise, as y'all know, for the first year. So I was already like in the 270s before I even started working out. So I was around 270 pounds. And I did an ab challenge, which crushed me, and I didn't enjoy it. But then I did Gavin's boot camp, and that was super fun. It was very easy for me. He would show the low impact, modifications, and normally that he would do the low impact as well. He would show the high impact, but he would do the low impact. And it was very manageable for me and something that I enjoyed. And then I found Kirsten, and she was doing the lean arms challenge, and I started that challenge. And she was doing 4 exercises, but some of the exercises were things like push-ups or mountain climbers, which is also where you're in sort of a plank position and you pull your knees in. And after a couple of days, my wrists were killing me. Like I could hardly type. My wrists hurt so bad. And so I would comment on her videos and I would, mention things. And so she would give me modifications to make it easier. But she didn't know anything about me then, right? She was not following my channel at that point because I was new to her and, just someone who was there to try it. But she was always so helpful and she would always try. But what she didn't know is that's not the level I was at. I was trying to do a push up, like a regular push up. Who did I think I was? I thought I was someone who could do a regular push up. And I think that's what kept me out of fitness for such a long time was when you hear push up, you immediately think you're on the ground in a plank position. But that's not true. You can do a push up against a wall. And I know I've said this before, I couldn't even really do those when I started. I started by laying on the ground and just pushing my arms up. And then once I got to 50 reps of that, I would rest. I'd do it again. So I'd do those 3 times. So I was up to 150 just arm push-ups from the floor. I wasn't pushing my body up. I was just pushing my arms up. And it was hard. I'm not going to lie. It was hard. I'd be tired. I'd be out of breath. Now I could do that. And it wouldn't be much of a workout for me. But this is also like almost 3 years later, right? So part of what held me back from fitness was modification, or what I like to refer to now as progressions, because that's what they actually are. If you look into calisthenics or you look into different things like that, you'll see progressions of a move where you start at one level until you can get what's considered the normal move. And then there are normally modifications to make that move even harder, right? I'm sure y'all have seen some people going back to push-ups, right? Because it's a very, I think, standard move that most people know, have heard of, have tried. I see people doing the push-ups and they like jumping off the floor, like, and doing claps. And today I was watching, y'all know it was World's Strongest Man this weekend. Shout out to Tom Stoltman for winning, and for my guy, Mitch Hooper, Moose, coming in second. I felt bad for him. But anyway, so he was doing like he was pushing himself up and doing a clap under his leg. What? No, I'm not anywhere close to that. But it's a progression that even makes it harder. So one thing with modification, especially in exercise, is a lot of people feel that it's lesser than. And so if they can't do a push-up, why should they even try to do a push-up, right? Well, that's the thing. You shouldn't try to do a standard push-up. You should maybe start with a push-up against a wall, a plank even. Do a plank against a wall. They're hard when you're starting. They're not easy. They take a lot of core strength. They take arm strength. They take balance. It takes a lot. And so knowing what those modifications are and being okay with doing them was one of the first things that really changed my mindset on fitness. It corrected it and won't let you tap. Oh, your system's making fun of you today, Mama? Yeah, Hooper's hands got tore up. I love Mitch Hooper. I'm a big World's Strongest Man. I love the strong men. There's several of them that I'm really big fans of. Mitch Hooper is currently my favorite. And one of the reasons that he is my favorite is he does science-based strength training. And he talks about progressions and modifications and fitness at any level. And he comes from a very science-based approach. He actually used to be a marathon runner. So he went from being a marathon runner to being the world's strongest man last year. Actually, he won everything. He won both Arnolds. He was winning everything. And he still came in second. And he ripped his hands open because they lift such heavy weights that, I mean, I'm sure you have to have hands of steel almost. That you could see the tendons in his finger. They were putting super glue on it. Oh, that's gotta burn. Anyway, all that, he still came in second. And he was super proud of himself. I mean, I'm sure he's disappointed because he didn't get first. That was the point of going to the competition, right? Is to win it. But he was still on the podium. He's brand new to the sport. And his hands were the F word. They were effed up. Like it, when you see something and it makes you hurt and twinge, is that empathy? Probably. I had empathy for him because I was like, oh, I didn't even want to bend my own hands just for thinking how much that was going to hurt. Men of Steel for real, right? Not only do they live steel, they are men of steel. Lori says she doesn't know why people do that to themselves. It's part of their competition. It's part of what they do. And his whole motto is lift heavy, be kind. And he said, it's not about what he does, it's about who he is, right? And who he is someone who pushes his body to the max and does it in a way that tries to be safe and healthy. And that's why he's so good, because he's good at everything, because he comes from this science-based approach of it. And when you talk about modifications, there are dozens of reasons why you may need to modify an exercise. It may be because you simply have too much of your own body weight right now, and you've never done any type of fitness or strength training before. Even when it comes to things like cardio, that's where I started. I did a 5K in May, and I started training for it April the 1st of 2021. And it took me 2 months to build up to be able to walk 3 miles. Now I walk 3 miles like 3 days a week minimum, right? Just for like a fun activity to do with Amy and with the girls on Sunday. So now 3 miles is nothing for my body. I can easily go out and do a 3-mile walk. Pretty much in any condition. I feel like I'd be, if I was sick, obviously not, but like even if I had just worked out, I could probably go do a 3-mile walk. I've done that a couple of times actually, where I hit a workout and then went for a walk. And it was okay. But at first, 1/3 of a mile, and I needed a day to recover. So it's okay. If you walk from here to your mailbox and back, and that's the farthest intentionally that you have walked without stopping, kudos to you. It's amazing. And that's how you're modifying it, right? Some people can't walk and they do upper body stuff, right? Even when it comes to your diet, and I don't mean diet as restriction, I mean diet as the food that you choose to eat, because that's what your diet is. Diet is not, it does help. Your food that you eat does help you lose weight. There's no denying that. You can work out all you want, but if you ate crap ton of stuff and high calories of it, you're not going to lose weight. Now, calories in, calories out, y'all know, don't get me started. Not every calorie is created equal. And not every food impacts everybody the same. There are some people who thrive on a carnivore diet, and there are some people who thrive on a vegan diet. But you could give an apple to 3 different people, and all 3 different people are going to have a different reaction to that apple. So it's hard because you have to modify. You have to figure out what works for you. And sometimes that can be very frustrating when you're like, I'm doing all the right things. I'm staying under my calories and I'm not losing weight. Maybe think of what could you modify? What could you change to see if something else works better for you? And again, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I have found now that a little bit higher of a carb than a keto diet works really well for me, but I'm also very physically active. Now I'm back to strength training at least 3 days a week, but we use dumbbells every day for the most part. But, it's still a modification that as I've lost weight, I have to eat less because I don't weigh as much. But I have to eat more than sometimes what I think because of my physical activity. So it's still a learning process. And as your body changes, you have to continuously change as well. And then as you get older, which we all are, things change, hormones change, food affects you differently. So you have to look at it, right? As what can you do for modification? Yeah, or physical problems. Like there, my mom has spinal stenosis. This is something I've shared before. I know you don't mind, Mama. So like she can't extend her back. So like when we're doing workouts and I was giving them different things to do, I had to be very cautious of what exercise am I giving you to do, or here's a modification for this type of exercise that I want you to do to where you won't, flare up your back. So yeah, there are all types of things that could possibly change how or why you're doing it. Um, yeah, absolutely. He says, we're back to World's Strongest Man. Cool story on Tom Stoltman. He's autistic out there helping bringing awareness of the possibilities. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I started following Tom Stoltman. They're actually the Stoltman brothers, Luke and Tom Stoltman. They actually have another brother, but Luke has been in the strongman world for a while, and his younger brother, who's like a foot taller than him now, is autistic. And you can see even in the videos, because I've been following him for a long time. They started doing videos on YouTube, and he wasn't very engaged in the channel. He wouldn't even really look at the camera exactly. It was like when you go back, you can see how it's changed. And the thing that changed for him was going to the gym, because he believed in himself. And he says, and I believe this is true in a lot of ways for a lot of autistic people, is it's their superpower, right? Because one thing that a lot of autistic people have is a hyper focus where they can really just drill down into something. And he decided that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to be strong, and he drilled down. But even he said that the thing that helped him the most this year, and the reason why he thinks he is still sort of on topic, that he thinks he was able to come back and win it again. He's already won it twice. This was his third win. So it's not like he's new to winning this, but he started going to a therapist because his mind wasn't right. His body was okay. His body was strong, but his mind wasn't right. And he says that he's been going to a sports psychologist. He's very open about it. They share on the channel. And I think, well, I can't speak for everybody. Weight loss is so much more mental than anything else. Physical health is so much more mental than anything else, because we've been subconsciously fed all this stuff from the government and business, and you buy into the hype, you buy into the supplements, you buy into this food, you buy into this detox. And it's hard when your brain is flooded with this, when, a lot of us grow up with food as a reward, because that's what we wanted. And so that's what we got. And then we continue to reward ourselves with food. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing for some people, but for some people it is. And being mentally aware of that helps. I've talked to several people who have binge eating disorder, right? Where they eat copious amounts of food, and not healthy foods, even sometimes healthier foods. Healthier foods are hard to eat in copious amounts, though. That's the thing. It's the easy, palatable, highly processed food that goes down so easy, that has so many calories. But a lot of them say the first time they realized they were doing it was the first step, because before it would be over before they realized they were in it. And I've sort of talked about that before as well, where once you realize whatever you're doing, that you're in it, then you can break out of it. It's hard, and it doesn't work every time. And sometimes you've already eaten, 1,000 calories for the binge eaters, right? But you can modify, you can adapt, you can overcome. but you have to be paying attention and you have to be mentally present. And it's very easy to get caught up in future thinking, which can lead to anxiety, or thinking in the past about what you could have done, what you should have done. Get over that. You did or you didn't. Move forward, because there's nothing you can do about that now. And I've shared before, sometimes now that I get it, it's hard not to be sad that I didn't get it 20, 30 years ago. Why didn't I get it then? Well, it doesn't matter because I didn't. And I can't go back and change that. All I can do is do better now and try to live the healthiest, happiest life that I can now. And I do that by modifying, adapting so that I can overcome all of these mental challenges and physical challenges that I run into. Yeah, you can't outwork a shit diet. That I'm just going to say it because you're not wrong about that, Will. You will still be healthier, though. I will say there have been studies done. I do read different studies on things just because I find it interesting, or I hear someone speak on a study, that I've seen. But it is a proven fact that people who eat a shit diet but work out are still healthier than people who don't necessarily eat a shit diet but don't work out. It's crazy. Still benefit even if you're eating a shit diet. Get in some workouts. But if you're really wanting to lose some weight, look at the food that you're eating. Marcy said her son is autistic. You'll have to go check the brothers out. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think he would really like them. I don't know if he's into strength. I know he probably sees you doing all the different strength training and boxing and things that you do on your channel. But yeah, it's the Stoltman brothers. I believe that's their channel on YouTube. They can sometimes be a little inappropriate. A lot of the strongman guys are kind of inappropriate. I'm like, y'all are like children, but whatever. That's who they are. No judgment, but sometimes I'm like, y'all are just ridiculous. Y'all are like 12-year-old boys, but I also kind of like it. So I think it's funny. Y'all know a good fart joke makes me laugh. I can't help it. It's the truth. I'm just being honest. So, but yeah, absolutely, Marcy. Go check them out. Hey, LB's here. Emotional eater. Yes, that is another one. Not only binge eating disorder, but there are a lot of people who are emotional eaters where happy, I eat. Sad, I eat. Stressed, I eat. It doesn't matter the emotion necessarily. Just any emotion in the extreme can sometimes set people off. But again, mentally being able to recognize that is where real change happens. Hey, Cheryl, you made it. I told everybody that you may be late. You've been running Rick around town today, but I'm glad that you were able to stop by and join our chat. And everybody's saying hello to everybody, right? So I had this conversation a few weeks ago about the ability to adapt. And I really think for a lot of people, that's the part that they're missing is they look to be consistent. They want to be disciplined, but then something happens and they feel like they can't overcome it. I'm too tired, so I can't work out today. I have an appointment at the time that I normally work out. I didn't get to walk because it was raining. Those are all things where if I work out, as an example, I work out Monday through Friday, either on boot camp with Kirsten or walking with Amy at 6:30 in the morning. Sometimes Amy and I have had to walk at 6. So I had to adapt and do that earlier. Sometimes, like Sunday, I didn't get to walk in the morning with Natasha and Mary, but I got in a walk that evening with Amy. And to be honest, I was already close to 10,000 steps for that day anyway, because I did things inside to keep my body moving. When it comes to the food that you eat, for me, preparing my protein is really helpful. I'll cook up a lot of different ground meats. I make protein bites, make protein cheesecake bites. So I flip between those two. But for me, that helps so that if something comes up, I'm ready to adapt. I'm ready to switch. I'm ready to, I always have easy foods for me to eat that make me feel my best. Again, that's going to be different for everybody. But you have to be able to adapt. And you can adapt if you're mentally in it. Sometimes the way we speak to ourselves, we would never speak to others that way. And sometimes, I know I've done it. I've been guilty. I hear other people do it, where they're worried what other people are going to think. But you don't even know what they're thinking. You're like, oh, I'm worried people are going to think I look silly. They may. Who cares? Who cares what they think, right? What you think about me is none of my business, because it shouldn't impact how I think about myself. And that's what I mean when I say that. Things aren't going to go the way you want. It's life. It's just the truth. You can set a schedule, and somebody's going to try to mess that schedule up for you. Maybe not intentionally, but it's going to happen. You're going to go on vacation. Oh no, I can't work out because I'm going on vacation. What? Who said? I work out every vacation. I have people join me for workouts. I didn't make Mary and Lori do it. They were happy to be there. Camille didn't want to do it. She didn't do it. No judgment. We got in a lot of activity that day, right? But if you're in it for your health, for your happiness, you have to be mentally there, mentally present. You have to know that modification does not mean lesser than. Modification just means different. And a lot of times we have to change the way that we look at things. Food, if you are an emotional eater or food feels like a reward, be conscious of that. Am I only eating this as a reward? And if that's why you're doing it and that's your plan, and then great. But if you're doing it to reward yourself because I worked out, so now I can eat more, for a lot of people, that's not a healthy mindset. For some people, it is. They work out so they can eat more. And if that works for you, that's fine. And that's the hard part about it, right? Everybody's different. If you can't do a push-up, try a push-up against a wall. If you can't do, a sit-up, what else can you do, right? What ways can you modify what you eat, when you eat, who you eat with? Do you eat in front of a TV? Is it better if you eat in silence? I can't give you the answers because I'm not you. But I can tell you things that have worked for me. And one thing that has worked for me, both in my diet and in my physical fitness, is modification. And knowing that I always felt that if I have to modify, I'm not good enough. That's not true. That is 100% not true. When I see someone doing a wall push-up, I honest to God think I get more excited than seeing someone who can do a regular one. Because I know what it's like to have to be there, right? I still remember it. I still hit new fitness goals every day. Maybe not every day, but often, and shock myself like, wow, I didn't even know I could do that. Wow, I remember, and then I remember when I couldn't do anywhere close to what I'm doing now. And I'm so proud of myself that when I see people out there doing it, I love it. Because you're modifying and you're good with it. And you're showing everybody that this is what I can do right now. And I'm going to do it. And then the more you do it, you can do more. But I think the piece that a lot of people are missing is the adaptation. You get stuck in a rut. You get stuck in a routine. You're not willing to change. You're not even realizing that you're stuck. And you use something as an excuse instead of adapting. Excuses are easy. Adaptation is hard. All right, let's see. Hold on. I've been on a roll here for a minute, and I saw that Kenneth came in at some point. Hello, Kenneth. I'm trying to find your original message, but I don't know. But welcome, Kenneth. I'm glad that you're here. I hope you're having a good evening. Let's see. Yeah, positive mindset. Cheryl is going through stuff. For those of you who follow Cheryl, you know Rick's been sick. He's going through different things. They're going to a lot of appointments, but you're being positive and grateful each and every day. And she shows up for herself however she can every single day. Positive mindset is such a game changer. And for a lot of us, all we do is negative talk to ourselves. Or you say that someone else will think this about me. It's just a secret way for you to say negative things about yourself. I don't think that I'll look silly, but someone else may, which means you think you're going to look silly to someone else, but you still are thinking that you're going to look silly. Stop it. Stop it. Am I perfect at it? No, I negative talk myself all the time still. I'm not going to lie, but I try to change that mindset. I try to be positive, and it's not easy. But positive mindset will get you a long way. Let's see. Inspirational preach. Like I say, I know what it feels like to not feel good in my body. I was just passively waiting to die. I'm going to be 50 next year. I mean, I got to have my birthday this year first, but still, I'm going to be 50 next year. And truth is, I didn't think I'd make that. I almost didn't. Because I wasn't willing to modify. And I didn't know how to adapt. So I was overcoming nothing. So when I talk about modify, adapt, overcome, that's what I mean. Modification in all things. Do what you can do at any level on any given day. I've been more tired this week. I've been working on going up to 50. Actually, you know what? I have an on-scale victory now that I think about it, because I was going to say something else and then got really excited. I've been trying to go up to 15-pound weights again. I had the shoulder injury, so it's been taking a while. I had to back off, and I'm trying to build back in. I hit my first 30-minute workout with 15-pound weights at Fit Squad this Saturday, and I was so proud of myself. But then I've been sad because for my cousins. And I haven't been sleeping the best. So have I tried 15 pounds this week? No, I haven't. Because I had to adapt. I had to modify. So that I could get in the workout. Did I still have a great workout? Absolutely. But I had to modify what I would normally do. Did I think any less of myself this week because I haven't picked up the 15-pound once? To be really honest, not at all. I'm proud of myself that I still showed up every day and that I was using them 12s. I could have used the 10s if that's what I needed. I was real happy this afternoon we did steps with Coach, because after this morning I might have had to be using my 5-pound weights, but I still would have been okay with that because I was doing something. And there have been some days where I do a workout and I don't use any weights. But I'm still there and I'm doing what I can, modify when needed, adapt to be your better self. And then you're an overcomer. You can do it. I believe in you. And I believe in you because I didn't believe in myself for a long time. Now I believe that I can too. And I've shown that I can. And you can walk the walk. You can talk the talk. But can you walk the talk, right? I could talk about stuff all the time that I'm not doing. But would you believe me? I show what I do, right? Maybe not to y'all online. I'm going to try to be better about that. But y'all know those of you who know me know these things, right? Because you can see the progress. And I'm not saying that progress is the only thing. Like just more muscles means she's doing it right. It's not about that, right? Where's your mindset? Are you mentally progressing? Be okay with modifying whatever it is. Learn to adapt. I don't have any tips for you. Because it is hard and it takes a lot to adapt. You're changing into somebody new. If you were who you were before, you would not be changing. You have to adapt. If you're injured, adapt. If you're sick, adapt. If you're overweight, adapt. If you're too skinny, adapt. You have to adapt in all things. If you used to feel really good eating certain foods and then you didn't, I couldn't eat white potatoes for a long time. And that's my favorite. I love potatoes. I don't eat them now as much because they don't make me feel as good as if I eat them in larger amounts. But there was a time with my skin condition that I couldn't even eat them at all, or it would cause a flare. So I had to adapt because it caused me pain. Did I still do it sometimes? Yeah. And that's okay too. It's not an all or nothing kind of thing. I know people are like, oh, she's so disciplined. She does it all day, every day. I don't. I'm lazy a lot. I'm not lazy. Maybe I shouldn't say that word, but I do what I can and I modify when needed. I try to adapt to my situation, environment, my mental health that day, whatever it is. And that's where you overcome. Whatever your setback is, whatever your challenge is, I challenge you to look at it from a different perspective, to look at it as though you're already there. But you have to take the steps, right? If you're on one side of a river and you want to get to the other side of the river, you see the destination and you know that's what you want. But if you don't start building a bridge or something or a raft to get across the river, you're never going to get there. It's like saying I want to run a marathon, but never signing up or never even running. You can say it all day, but what steps are you taking? What modifications are you making? How are you adapting so that you can overcome and meet the goals that you have? It sounds really simple. It's not. It's not easy. It is simple, actually. Let me change. One thing that I've been saying too recently is I like simple, but that doesn't have to mean easy. And for me, it is simple because I've learned what modifications I need, how I can adapt so that I can overcome. I took a trip. I did so many things that I had never done before. And a lot of those things, I've told you, it's really scary for me. It's really freaks me out a little bit. But I'm okay. And I know that I'll figure it out. I know that I'll be able to adapt. And then you just crush it. So is it simple? Yes, it is simple. Is it easy? It's not easy. It's like a push-up. It's simple, right? But if you start with on the floor, it's not easy. It may be impossible. Modify, adapt, overcome. Now I can do a push-up. I can do a couple. Let's see. Oh, yep, good preaching. Mod Queen here. You are the modification queen, Cheryl, and I love it. Cheryl is great too. Just like I was talking about Marcy earlier. Cheryl, and that's one thing that I love about the Fit Squad. Coach doesn't promote it as much, but y'all know I talk about our group all the time. But one of the things that I love is sometimes during a workout, I'll look at the screen and we're all doing the same exercise different. Somebody will be against a wall. Somebody will be against a bench. Somebody will be on the floor. We're all doing what we can do at our progression, at our level, whatever modification we need. And I think that's awesome. And like I said, I'm more impressed with someone doing a wall push-up than doing a regular push-up because I know how hard that is. And I know that that's where you need to start sometimes. And for me, it was hard for me to be okay with that. Now I'm okay with it. If she gives me some new exercise and I've never done it before and I can't, I'm like, what else can I do other than that? Like, what can I do to build up to that? What modifications can I make so that I can adapt and overcome and hit this exercise where I want to, right? So we do indeed have a fabulous community. I love y'all. And I appreciate y'all letting me sit here and preach at y'all for a minute. LB says your mental progress is totally what you see. The body is just the icing on the cake. Right. The body is the result of the work. The work is mental a lot of times. And then you put in the physical effort. And what you see is what you get from that. And that's what I can say, right? Will says we have to adapt for growth both mentally and physically. We can't hit PRs every day in the gym, but work still needs to be done. Absolutely right. Every day is not going to be your best days. But without those days, you won't ever get the days where you crush it. And those days do feel good. But it's the day where I didn't want to and did it anyway. No excuses, that I'm probably still the most proud. Because those days are the hard ones. The days you crush it are easy. It's all the other days, all the other stuff that you go through that's hard, where change happens. Tia says, totally missed the whole thing. You watch the replay. Sounds like a good one. Preach. Yeah, it was modify, adapt, overcome. That's my motto. Y'all have heard me say it. I'll continue to say it because I will continue to believe it. Because even though your modification, your adaptations, and whatever you're trying to overcome may not be the same as mine, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. Tia says that was her this morning. She was switching every round. Yeah, absolutely. Well, even with the push-ups, like I said, I did 100 push-ups. What I didn't tell you was I did 50 push-ups on my knees, and I did 50 push-ups on my knees against my step because I was too tired. And even just that little bit of elevation gave me the ability to do it. I almost switched to my bench. But did I tell you all that? No, I told you all I did 100 push-ups because I did. What your assumption about what that push-up looked like, that's on you. I was proud of my 100 push-ups. So, Tia, I'm proud of you for being there. It was a big workout, girl. I was sweating so much. My legs were sweating, guys, and I was inside. At one point, Kirsten, God, she makes me laugh sometimes so much. She's talking about how much she's sweating, and she's like, how did sweat get way over here? She's like, flinging the sweat. But she works and it shows, right? So anyway, we're past our hour mark. I did get off on some tangents there, but just because I believe so passionately in all of you and your ability to do it, and I will help you however I can. I'm not the best. I try to be supportive, and y'all say that I am, so I believe that I am. I still think I could sometimes do more. But again, that's a way that I think negatively about myself that I'm trying to change. So, Will's got to go. He's probably going, bye, Will. Well, hello, Sam. Thank you for being here. You are new to me. I appreciate you stopping by, listening, and feel free to go back and watch the replay. And shout out to my replay gang if you made it all the way to the end. I think I got rolling there at the end, so probably. But shout out to my replay gang who will be here. Kirsten, Camille, Celine, maybe Jocelyn. Jocelyn wasn't here tonight, but maybe she'll be stopping by the replay. But thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. I really do believe in you. Even if you don't believe in yourself, because I know you can. And for me, the way that you do it is by figuring out how to modify, adapting when necessary, overcome. No excuses. Don't feel about it. Do it. But be safe. Your work buddy? Oh, Tasharia. Oh, well, cool. Thanks for stopping by. I love to share you. I've already talked about how much I loved her earlier, but if you're going to watch the replay, you'll hear me, you'll hear me talk about that. But thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. So that's going to end it for this evening. Thank you all for being here. I love this community. Could do it without y'all, but it wouldn't be nearly as fun. And y'all inspire me all the time. I see y'all out there doing it. We're not always the best. Nobody's perfect. But you can modify, you can adapt. And I believe that you can overcome whatever hurdle you're facing, whether it's weight loss, whether it's fitness, whether it's your mental health. You can do it. Get the help you need in whatever form, for whatever reason. And that's where I'm going to end it this evening. So like this video if you like it, dislike it if you didn't, subscribe if you know how, and comment down below. What is one thing that you have modified that has helped you the most? For me, that would be my modifications in physical fitness to get to where I am today. And until next time, I'll see you real soon. Y'all have a great week. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you again next time.